Hey guys, welcome back to the next video in our series. Today we're going to be talking about the feet. Now, the feet tend to be one of the most underrated parts of the human characters. And this actually has a lot of sense because most of the times, I would say 80% of the times, our characters are going to be wearing either boots, shoes, spacesuits, armor, anything. Like most of the times characters have something on their feet, so a lot of artists do not pay enough attention to the anatomy of the feet and they don't sculpt them. Actually, most of the movies I've seen, the feet are rarely in place. Maybe recent example like in Avengers with the Hulk, you have feet, open feet, so you gotta know your anatomy. The best example I can give you about some really nice model feet, it's the Disney movie Tangled, where Rapunzel, I think that's the way you pronounce it, is always barefoot, and she actually has movement in her feet. Like you see her moving her fingers, using them to climb. Like there's a lot of gesture and animation in her feet. If you go way back to like the 90s or early 2000s, you remember like Tarzan, of course, that it's a lot of movement there and a lot of anatomy. So there are instances where you will have to have very nice looking sculpted feet, but most of the times you will not. In our case, since this is mostly an anatomy class, we will have some nice feet. So let's go into it. Bones. Bones are really easy to understand. You will have the tarsal, or tarsus, which is just like the ankle, or the ankle and the lower leg bones collide, pretty much like your wrist. Well, this is for your feet, and there are, I believe, seven bones in the tarsus. Now, the biggest one is this one, the calcaneus, and the calcaneus bone, it's the heel. It's where the Achilles tendon pretty much lands. Okay, so keep that in mind. See how there's a lot of space here? This is important because most of this space is just tendons. There's a lot of tendons. We actually have more movement for our fingers and for our feet coming from the back side and on the bottom side of the feet than coming from the top side. You can do way more movements and way more flexions with all the muscles that come here on the bottom side. After that, we get the metatarsals, which very similar to what we had on the hand, are the ones that connect the tarsal or the tarsus with the fingers. And then we get the fingers, which the same name as we had on the hands, they're the phalanges. We will have again proximal, medial, and distal phalanges, and of course the thumb will only have two phalanges right here. Now, in regards to the pads, again, remember in the hand, we didn't really talk about the muscles, even though there are a couple of muscles. We're mostly focused or worried about the pads of the feet. And these are very easy to remember because everyone has done this exercise when we were in kindergarten or something, where you just put paint on your feet and give that to your parents. And these are the usual pads that you will see whenever someone presses their feet against a surface, right? Now, these pads are the ones we're going to be focusing on. We got the finger pads, we got the base of the finger pads, we got the heel pad, and the side pad. Pretty much this right here. Sometimes called also the arch pad, because this is the thing that some people struggle with. If they have very weak tendons or ligaments here, it gets difficult or painful to walk, and they need to use this sort of. My brother has it. I'm not sure what's the name or the proper medical name in English, but it's just like a sole that has extra padding here, so that when someone presses their foot, it kind of supports the arc of the feet and it gets less painful. Anyway, let's jump into the important thing: fingers. Before we jump into the fingers, though, let me show you the following. One of the things that people struggle the most with the feet is the fact that they are always in perspective, always. And this is very mind blowing for people that are getting into like drawing and sculpting, because you're used to seeing the diagrams of the muscles pretty much always straight on, right? But the feet doesn't work that way. It goes in a different direction, and the character, if you see the character from the side, you're gonna see head, torso, abdomen, butts, upper leg, lower leg, and then boom, feet pointing up or pointing forward rather. So it's a little bit difficult to draw feet in perspective all the time, but if you want to be a concept artist, you need to know how to do it. So the way I usually go about blocking in the feet when I'm doing some gesture drawing is I try to imagine this into three parts. That's why I did the cut earlier on here, on the heel, on the ankle, like so. So I break that out, and then straight down, you're gonna have your heel, and you just draw this like a box. So just imagine this box going all the way across the feet. It's roughly something like that. Okay. Then the next section is going to be your metatarsals. And I also draw them as a box, like so. But on the upper side, instead of having just like a straight line, like the diagram here, just add a little bit of volume, like so. Okay, so if you see the box from the side, don't just draw this, do a little volume here. That will give you a better looking upper side of the feet, and then straight down. And for the fingers, I learned this really nice trick from an anatomy teacher called Ray Bustos, where he showed us that you can do like a fan-like shape. And here's how it works. The pinky finger always points down. Then the next finger points slightly higher. The next finger slightly higher. What would be the index finger pretty much straight up. And the thumb, it points up like so. So as you can see right here, it's very easy to know where the finger should be if you focus on the direction that they're pointing. See? So pretty much every single finger is pointing in a different direction. So if you learn this little fan thing here, it's going to be way easier for you to sculpt. Now, from a top view, one of the things that you're going to see is this thing right here. Now, the organization of the fingers here is different than the ones of the hand. If you remember the hand, we had like the fingerless glove right here, and then all of the fingers kind of converge to the middle point, to the center. In the case of the feet, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have like a triangle looking thing, like so. So the thumb will be here, and then the index finger, and then middle finger, what will be the ring finger, and then the pinky finger, like so. They will come like that, and then your soul over here, the arcs, of course. Again, I suck at drawing, but we'll sculpt this later on, and you'll see. Now, this can change, and there's been for a long time this like Facebook test where it tells you what kind of personality you are in regard, depending on how your finger look. They're pretty much different ways that it can look. It can be very straight, where pretty much all the fingers end at the same point. It can be thumb coming all the way out, and then the rest of the fingers in a kind of like a staircase fashion. Or it can be this one right here, where what would be the index finger of your foot goes a little bit further than the thumb. Usually, this is the canonical one that we use. I believe this is called the Egyptian or something. You should just look that up and see what kind of feet there are. But everyone has a different anatomy. Again, depending on your character, you might not need to pay a lot of attention in that regard because the feet will be covered. But if you're doing a barefoot character, just pay in mind what kind of heritage he has. Is he from Africa, Asia, America, or whatever place from the world? And check what kind of feet people usually have in that place. Some feet are very bony. They will not have a lot of fat. Some of them are very chubby. I actually have like chubby feet. So it all depends on the type of person you're sculpting, and that will pretty much give you the type of feet that you're going for. One more thing before we jump into the reference, and this has to be with female feet most of the time, and that's heels. Now, we've talked about heels earlier, and we mentioned, or I'm not sure if I mentioned, but heels started as a male fashion thing. And what heels do is that pretty much all of your weight will rest on this point right here. Like your whole body will pretty much rest here. That's why it gets very painful for women to wear heels, because pretty much everything is right here and you have like a needle trying to push through, and well, it gets painful. The way I usually go about thinking, or the way I think about heels is I divide the female foot in the same way I divide the feet when I draw. 3 sections: the heel section, the metatarsal section, and then the finger section. So try to think of them as something like this. Now, if you've never heard about how heels are organized and whatnot, heels can be of 3 different kinds. You can have, there's like 3 characteristics that heels can have. First, they can either be with platform or without platform. I've heard from my female friends that heels without platform, like without any kind of support or here on the front, are very painful to walk on, because besides having all of this pressure here, all your fingers are also pretty much touching the ground, and it gets painful as well. So it's platform and no platform. That's the first characteristic. Second, the size of the heel. You can have very low heels and very high heels. I've seen some heels going all the way to like 8 or even 10 inches. It's a lot, and again, from my female's friend's perspective, the higher the heel, the more painful and difficult to walk with is. So depending on your character, just think about where is your character gonna be. Is she gonna be like an explorer in the jungle? You might not want to have heels. You might want to have like a combat boot, right? But you know, clients sometimes ask for very unreasonable things, and you need to adapt. That's part of the job. So just try to figure out what's the best thing for you. So platform, not platform, size of the heel, and then whether the heel is just straight down like this, or it kind of you kind of have like a continuous heel. Again, from my female's friend's perspective, the continuous heel tends to be more comfortable because there's more support for the overall foot. However, they're not as fashionable. You might see this kind of heels more like in a casual environment. They use them a lot for garden parties and when they're going to the beach, because trying to walk on the beach with a pointy heel is going to be very difficult, right? So that's a quick lecture about heels. If you're a female artist and you know about this, then congratulations, you're one step above us males who do not have to suffer the painful work of wearing one of these things. Anyway, we're gonna stop the video right here, and we will continue with the sculpting process of the feet in ZBrush in the next video. So I'll see you guys there. Bye bye.